What happens when you put the most outrageous door slammers and motorcycles in all of drag racing into one of the most fabled 8th mile tracks in the United States Southland? You get a packed house and some of the wildest action imaginable. It's the Flowmaster ADRL AMS staff leasing summer drags at Huntsville Dragway in Alabama. And it doesn't get much wilder than this. Welcome, everybody, to Inside Drag Racing's continuing exclusive coverage of the Flowmaster American Drag Racing League Series, and this time from the fabled Huntsville Dragway in Huntsville, Alabama. This is the AMS staff leasing summer drags. Now, the Flowmaster ADRL Tour has already been one of the most exciting in all of drag racing this season, but nobody would have expected the competitiveness that came out of two different classes here, the Pro Extreme Supercharged Division and, of course, the Pro Nitrous category, than this guy. Believe me when I tell you that Kenny Nowling, the president of the ADRL, pays close attention to just how competitive these divisions are because, let's face it, Kenny, they're your baby, and boy, are they getting tough.
You know, when we started this series back in 2004 at the original drag stock, I knew when we left there we were going to have some kind of problem getting nitrous cars because there were like 40 on the property that day. Not one of them was within a tenth of qualifying. I think Dan Parker was the quickest, 4:09. He was way off the pace. So we sat down, we came up with the Pro Nitrous category, and as you said, it kind of is my baby. As you know, Brett, I've had a huge affection for nitrous cars for a lot of years. I hated to see the decline of the nitrous cars in the Pro Mod divisions in the other series. So I thought to myself, we'll just have a class just for nitrous cars. We'll keep those blower cars out of it. And as you said so well, the fields are getting so close as far as the bump spots. The competitiveness, though, I believe, the Pro Nitrous division right now may be the most competitive division in drag racing, and I don't think it's overstating it.
No question about it. This is the second straight event in which the Pro Nitrous field had a field spread of less than 1/10 of a second. Translates to easy, simple English, anybody can win.
Absolutely amazing, and at the end of the day, I'm so happy for the guys that were there at the original event, Johnny Pilcher, all the way down, the Bankston boys, the guys that supported us since day one. There's been a lot of guys come on since, but I'm just thrilled for the entire category. I think it's a great addition to our series, and I think right now, the fans, in my opinion, in Pro Modified or any type of door slammer racing, the nitrous versus blown thing, it's overblown. It's over. They're two different types of animals. I mean, they really are at this point. So for us, having the uniqueness of the situation where we can have just the blower cars and just the nitrous cars, I don't think these fans here in Huntsville or anywhere we go really care that they don't run against each other.
Not at all. And let's talk about the Pro Extreme, the Supercharged Division category. Certainly this year's big newsmaker, last year's big newsmaker, Jason Scruggs, who again broke the track record here, 3.85 seconds, 196 miles per hour. But the really interesting aspect of the summer drags here at Huntsville is that there are no less than 4 drivers now within 500ths of him. 4 different drivers under 390.
It's amazing. And the way the Pro Extreme division has progressed, we talk about Pro Nitrous and how the bumps have gotten down into the O's. I really believe at some point this year, whether it's Norwalk, it may be a little hot in Norwalk, but by the time we get to Drag Stock 4, Rockingham, I think we can have a 92 or a 93 bump. It's possible within the next few months we could have, or excuse me, next several months, we could have a bump in the 80s. I think it's that feasible, which is exactly why you don't run nitrous versus blown.
It all comes full circle. And speaking of the competitive nature of ADRL races, so far we've completed the first round of eliminations in both the Pro Nitrous and Pro Extreme divisions. But how about 6 of the 16 races run in those 2 battles? 6 different drag races, won by hole shots alone. But the most staggering came in this matchup with Michael Neal out of Florida in the near lane and Bill Clanton in the big money Studebaker far side. Michael Neal's 4:02 sends Clanton packing, even though they ran 3.98 seconds and losing. Kenny, it's only going to get better from here.
It's absolutely only going to get better, Brett, and as the crowd continues to file in, I don't know where these people come from at 10 o'clock at night or whatever time we're approaching right now, but they're still coming in from the road. So fantastic job, the Flowmaster ADRL. If you haven't seen it in person, you need to see it in person.
And indeed, we'll see the eliminations coming up.
The Performance Tip. Professional tips on the latest performance technology available with NHRA Pro Stock champion Greg Anderson. Items featured on the Performance Tip are available from Summit Racing Equipment, the World Speed Shop.
For today's Summit Racing Equipment Performance Tip, we're at Low Car Performance, formerly known for street rod parts, throttle cables, throttle spring return kits. Now they have something interesting called a locking dipstick. Rick, explain to us the locking dipstick.
Well, what we've done is we've gone the next step further, and we've gone to the drag racing side. The dipstick actually releases, and you can remove it from either end. What happens is the fellow wants to change the transmission. All he has to do is push this, remove it, leave this in his transmission, and put a new tranny in there. Once this is in your transmission, and you're going to store it in your vehicle, meaning your travel trailer or your whatever, this has a plug that can go in it. Locks in, just like the upper, and you can travel with that transmission with no worry of fluid movement.
And that's not the only new product I see here for drag racing.
Yeah, we have, of course, the throttle spring bracket, but we also have our dial-in boards, and that's available in 3 colors and 2 different designs.
There you have it, folks. All kinds of interesting products from Low Car Performance. For more information on these fine products, we'll display the Low Car website at the end of our show, or you can go to the Summit Racing catalog.
Inside Drag Racing is brought to you by Summit Racing Equipment, the world speed shop, and by ARB, the world leader in racing fastener technology, and by Duplicolor, the premium brand leader in automotive paints, primers, and coatings, and by the O'Reilly Auto Parts Masters Expo coming to Radford, Virginia, July 6 and 7. Back on Inside Drag Racing as we continue our coverage from Huntsville, Alabama. Ted Jones, Mike Side, along with Kenny Nowling, and as Brett promised, we'll pick up the action. Round 2, Pro Nitrous, where we have Jamie Hancock against Rod Houck.
Rod Houck getting awfully close to the center line, and the second generation Hancock, 17 years old, 409 with a 177 for the win.
Next pair will feature Doug Reister going against Terry Housley.
Doug did not make the first round of qualifying last night, pulled in this morning, and he takes out the defending event champ, 403 with the 6, 179. Ted, low ET of the meet so far.
Here comes Johnny Pilcher, and he's going against Steve Vick.
Johnny Pilcher going for 2 wins in a row, gets the job done. 407 takes the win.
And we'll round the round out with Dennis Radford and Greg Godwin.
Battle of the Illusions Custom Paint and Body, best appearing cars. Dennis Radford, one of the Georgia Drags, this weekend's winner. Greg Godwin in the far lane with that beautiful 63 Corvette. Wheels up, launch a pair, all kinds out of shape for Godwin. Radford from the alternate spot goes a 410 at 179 miles per hour.
And Emma Hemi Kuda, talk about popular. I like the variety that they have here on this series with the ADRL. Now let's move right into our next category, round 2, Pro Extreme.
Our defending world champion in the near lane, our defending event champion in the far lane. Brian Daniels, sparks flying, shaking the tires. Bubba Stanton, the world champs, going on a 409 with an 875 miles per hour.
Next pair would feature Jason Scruggs against Michael Neal.
Michael Neal, a killer on the tree. Always Jason Scruggs in the far lane. All kinds out of shape, Ted, but he blasts through the 8th mile. 389, another 80 for Scruggs at 193 miles an hour.
And did you see that 0.6 reaction time? Here comes the familiar Lee Boy sponsored entry of Quain Stott. He'll be facing Joe Baker.
Joe Baker, our most recent winner on tour, all kinds out of shape. Quain Stott runs a 389, Ted, are you kidding me? 380s a pair for Quain Stott and Jason Scruggs. Those two meet in the final. It should be a heck of a matchup and a lot of racing to go yet.
Josh Hernandez will face Benny McDonald.
Benny McDonald Jr., another second-generation racer. Josh Hernandez, the points leader. McDonald all over the track, and at the stripe, a pair of 4 flats, 174 miles an hour, and the McDonald family goes crazy.
Talk about close a 4 flat with a 7, beats a 4 flat with a 9.
The NHRA Sportsman Spotlight, featuring a closer look at NHRA sportsman drag racers and their racing activities at different drag strips across the nation. Brought to you by Duplicolor, the leader in automotive paints, primers, and coatings.
London Dragway may be one of the best kept secrets in Division 3. It's located about 60 miles south of Lexington, Kentucky, and it's a beautiful 8th mile facility that for the last 2 years has been under the direction and the ownership of Craig Boone. Craig, first of all, congratulations on a marvelous facility here. Tell us how you became the owner.
Well, I have been in drag racing for approximately 15 years. Pretty much just a bracket racer, IHRA, NHRA. I was fortunate enough to purchase this place last year. Just very excited about making it the place to be. It's a great facility, getting great car counts, great spectators. Everything's just going great.
Everything's grown on a weekly basis. Your Summit Racing ET Series, your O'Reilly Junior Dragster programs are doing well. But today you've got the ultimate event for this track during the season. Tell us about today's race.
This event is brought to you by Buggies Unlimited. They're the major sponsor of the event. We're having a big golf cart race for just those guys. We're also having the Pro Top Outlaw Series here today. It includes alcohol dragsters, alcohol funny cars, anything that is fast enough to run in that series. We'll have 2 quick 8 fields. It's double, it's heads up, and we got about 30 participants, I believe, in that so far.
The great thing about this is a lot of the drivers I've talked to are here at London for the first time, and that's got to make you feel good.
Absolutely. We got guys that came from Florida, and some guys drove two days to get here, and it feels great.
Ray's done a great job, both on his weekly programs and his special events like the one here today. And remember where you heard this first. You watch out for these guys when they show up at the Summit Racing ET Series Division III Finals, because the racers here at London Dragway, they want to put this place on the map.
Welcome back, everybody, to Huntsville Dragway in Huntsville, Alabama, the site of the Flowmaster American Drag Racing League AMS Staff Leasing Summer Drags. And we're getting ready for semifinal action. And as you can see, this crew definitely is doing the same, and rightfully so. That crew is thrashing on the power plant that right now is the favored power plant going into the semifinals. Tragically, their driver just doesn't know how to relax. The one and only Quain Stott, who's been at this game now for more years than he would like to remember, I believe. Am I correct? Is this number 20 for you professionally?
20 wins?
20 years.
Oh, yeah. No, we're wrong. About
88.
88, not professionally, though. We was bracket racing back in. But this is 11.
That's not true. You were running factory modifieds in
yes,
1980.
I was. That's right. Brett Kepner, how you remember all this stuff, I'll never know. But you're right. It is 20 if you count the factory modified days, and that was a professional class then.
Just remember, you overshadow me in fashion sense all the time.
Well, I'm trying to make a fashion statement here.
You do, and you've made a performance statement as well. For the first time this season, with Jason Scruggs still in the show, somebody has at least equaled his elapsed time and run faster than he has in eliminations. Why?
Well, we just tried to go to this screw blower because last year we was running our legal stuff and we won. Well, last couple of years, I think we're tied to be the winningest driver in ADRL right now. Right. We did that with a legal roots blower. So I said, I'm tired of bringing a knife to a gunfight. If I'm going to go race with these boys, I'm going to have the same equipment.
Now the big challenge for this guy and Jason Scruggs is advance past the semifinals. There are still other people in this show.
Some of those other people include the 10.5-inch tire category, where in the semifinals where Steve Gorman would face Michelle Wilson.
Michelle Wilson, the first lady of Extreme 10.5, a huge wheels-up launch for Michelle with the headlights glowing, but Steve Gorman runs a career best 441 at 162 to take the win.
And in the other semifinal pairing, Mike Hill would face Michael Neal.
Michael Neal, the son of Mike Neal, both Pro Extreme drivers. Michael doubling up this weekend in 2 categories. Hill, another wheels-up launch. He'll get the win, and he'll go to his second consecutive Extreme 10.5 final with a 437 at 168 miles per hour.
Now let's get back to the Pro Nitrous semifinal round. Jamie Hancock and Doug Reisterer.
Chevrolet's a pair on the line as they turn on the stage bulbs. Reisterer goes to bump in. He's in. Away we go, and Hancock with a huge wheels-up launch. Reisterer has problems. Hancock gets the win, 410 with a 275 miles per hour.
And purging the nitrous is one of our other semifinalists, Dennis Radford against Johnny Pilcher.
Dennis and Judy Radford, the pride of Baker City, Oregon. Johnny Pilcher from right nearby in Enterprise, Alabama, trying to join Shannon Jenkins is only the second person ever to win back-to-back Pro Nitrous events. Radford all over the center stripe. Pilcher a 413 with the 1, goes to his second straight final.
Now let's move into the semifinals of Pro Extreme. On the line, Jason Scruggs and Benny McDonald.
Benny McDonald Sr. pulling Benny McDonald Jr. into the lights. A beautiful 53 Corvette. A couple of veterans in Outlaw Pro Mod Racing duking it out here at a track, Ted, that's known for Outlaw Pro Mod Racing, Huntsville Dragway. Benny should have his hands full, though. Scruggs is running like a rocket in Huntsville.
They're staged up. Good green light start right there. Pulling it. Oh, a little bobble and a weave for the 53 vet. That's all Jason Scruggs needed. Look at that time. 390. Another 3-second run. There's Quain Stott in the cockpit of that Levoy-sponsored entry. He'll be going against Bubba Stanton.
Defending world champion Bubba Stanton trying to go to his first final of 2007. Quain up on 2 tires, crosses the center line. Stanton way off the pace with a 405 at 179. As we take a look at the instant replay, Ted, all kinds out of shape is Quain Stott.
Completely sideways, finally crossed the center line, did a great job getting that car under control and keeping it on all fours.
The ARP Quarter Mile Quiz with Butch McCall offers you a chance to win a Quarter Mile Quiz sweatshirt while testing your knowledge of drag racing. Brought to you by ARP, the world leader in racing fastener technology.
Well, I've enlisted the help of Graham Light, Senior Vice President of Racing Operations for NHRA, for this week's ARP Quarter Mile Quiz question. Graham, the question was emailed to us by Bob Smith, and hey, he's from out in your way, Ontario, California.
Just down the road.
Oh, yeah, and his question is, he's heard the drivers and crew members talk about the transition from the asphalt or from the concrete pad to the asphalt, and he asked, why don't they build more concrete tracks, or what do you do for that transition?
Well, we run a one-all concrete track, being the Texas Motorplex in Dallas, Texas, just south of Dallas. And if a concrete track is very dry and clean of any oil or anything, it's excellent. And typically the temperature of the track is a little bit cooler than asphalt. I would tell you though, in oil cleanup in particular, asphalt is a little more forgiving than concrete. It's a little easier to clean it up, and the end result is that you have a much better surface if you get a considerable oil down.
Hey, Bob, thank you for this week's ARP Quarter Mile Quiz question. And for you folks at home, if you'll send me a question, I'll send you a sweatshirt just like I'm going to do Bob.
IDR is brought to you by AMS Staff Leasing, business solutions for the construction industry. And by United Specialties, home of the Trendsetter. And by Moroso Performance Products, race-proven Moroso. Happy hour in Huntsville, Alabama. All the finals on the line, beginning with Pro Extreme Motorcycle, Jack Young, Cootie Thomas.
Cootie Thomas went to the finals in Valdosta, breaks right off the hit. Jack Young with the wheels still up near the finish line, 4:46, gets his first Iron Eagle.
I mean, with that many bikes running in the 430s like we saw, and side by side no less, even when you shut off in the final, I mean, they were on their feet cheering.
Yeah, I was a little afraid of driving it. I corrected it a little bit too far. I guess adrenaline got the best of me since I'm labeled Mr. Coffee now. So right. I guess it got the best of me, so I just thought it was best to cut it off so I didn't drive it over to the center line. I just didn't want to give it away in the final.
Next final on the line, Extreme 10.5 tire class, Mike Hill and Steve Gorman.
The headlights are on. That means only one thing. It's the 10.5-inch tire cars. Gorman looking for his first win. Not to be. Mike Hill gets two in a row, 440 at 168 miles per hour.
Like everybody else, you had to be pretty stunned to realize Gorman was only 200ths of a second behind you in the final.
Oh, yeah, I seen his front end for a minute out front of me until we passed the 330 and we made a move then. I was kind of worried about it.
And now, burning out into your living room, one of the finalists in Pro Nitrous, ladies and gentlemen, this is Jamie Hancock. His competitor will be Johnny Pilcher.
A couple of racers from Alabama, Jamie from Opelika, Johnny from Enterprise, and Johnny Pilcher. I spoke with him earlier, and I said, Johnny, what is it going to take to make history? You've got a chance to join Shannon the Iceman Jenkins is only the second driver ever to win consecutive events in the Pro Nitrous division. He said, I'm going to have to beat a 17-year-old kid that's awfully hungry, Ted.
A final purge of the nitrous there for Jamie Hancock. I remember the old Pilcher and Pilcher modified production car. He's come a long way.
Yes, he has. Green light start for both cars. Oh, it's a pedal fest, Ted. It's a pedal fest, and Pilcher with a savvy driving job gets the win with a 503 at only 151 miles per hour.
As George West presents the trophy, it is a special one indeed. The first time in over 2 seasons that anyone has won these titles back-to-back in Pro Nitrous.
Well, you know, it's like anything. If you do something twice, there's got to be a lot of blessings involved.
Well, let's talk about blessings. I want to hear exactly what was going through your mind from the time you passed the Christmas tree to the time you crossed the finish line.
Let's see here.
First was blah, 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 blah. We know that.
Yeah, after my vision got straightened out and everything. I pedaled it. I said, well, where's Jamie? And I seen Jamie fly by, and he stops. And I said, well, I might better match the gas, get out on down the track. So I eased it on through, you know. And which you know, Jamie he's a great guy, great competitor. I've watched him ever since he was a baby. And that's hard to say.
Yeah, the sad thing about Jamie being in the final with you is that we no longer can call you the kid, you know.
Yeah, I'm the oldest teenager, you know.
Here come the fastest door slammers in the world. The champ burns out in the final of Pro Extreme.
The champ's going to take on the man, as he's known in ADRL, Jason Scruggs, his father Mitchell. They've set both ends of the world record numerous times. They've been to 6 semifinals, Ted, but they've never reached the final. Could this be the night as we look in on our champion? Look at the one, look at the man that earned the one. He earned that one last year in the Battle for the Belts at Kennedale, Texas, by taking out Jason Scruggs in round number 1. He ran a 389 that night to do it. He's gonna need another one tonight, I think.
Both cars pre-stage. They'll bring the RPMs up now. Stage, watch for the green. Good, green light, start.
Jason Scruggs is out on the champ, and that's bad news when you're running to the 8th mile. Scruggs gets his first win by running another 389. Amazing.
Well, Stanton, not to be denied, ran a 398. You had an all 3-second final as they celebrate on the starting line.
Great job by the crew.
You haven't waited too long for this, have you?
No, just 2 years, it seems like.
Every ADRL race ever held, I think.
Yeah, it seems like every time it was something keeping me from it, but I'm glad to get it finally under my belt and we can go on now. Everybody quit talking about it.
You know, a lot of people were saying, wow, he finally won one. There were an awful lot of other people that were saying, wow, it finally made 4 laps. That had to be just as important to you.
Right, it really is. We looked up and found the combination today, and it was just our day. And what a better place to do it than Huntsville, because it's kind of my home track. I grew up, this is where I started racing Pro Mod, so George Howard's track, so we're tickled to death.
Now, the question is, was there ever a pass that you didn't lift?
Well, there was 2 or 3 that I should have lifted, but I was driving off the wall down there and a little bit lucky. It's just my day. Driving over my head's what I was doing, actually.
Nobody's ever put together a string of 4 of those like that. Unbelievable job. Congratulations.
Thank you, Brett. Appreciate it.
And to learn more about the products featured on today's program, check out these websites. Also, if you want to know more about the ADRL, go to adrl.us. Next week, join us for action from Commerce, Georgia, as we cover the Super Chevy Show in all its blazing glory. This is Ted Jones for Kenny Nowling and Brett Kepner. So long, everyone, from Huntsville, Alabama.